So today we're just going to make some eggs. I don't show them very often, and I make tons of them, and I really like doing it. So mallee burl, where to get it from? There you go, that's where I get my mallee burl from. It's from Woodwise in the UK. This is brown mallee burl, which I really like. And this piece here is about 35 quid, I think I paid for that. This is bimble box burl, which I really like as well. It comes up lovely. This is probably a 16-17 quid. And what I do is I cut them on a bandsaw, and then I glue them onto a waste block, waste block. And then I decorate them, put a cup over them, cast them, turn them on the lathe, and then polish them up. Most efficient way I've found to mark these out is to take my block, just overlay it roughly. So this block is kind of the size of the cup. So I know how much I want to measure, because this stuff is expensive. And I just overlay it and then just mark with a bit of chalk where I want to cut. And then I'll cut it on the bandsaw, and then I get two, in this case, 2 bits like that. So we're just going to glue these to the blocks. I'm going to do it with 2-part 5-minute epoxy Devcon, so you can get that from the Amazon store. Obviously, if you've got chuck, then you put it on another bit of wood and then turn something else to put on the chuck. I actually very rarely use a chuck. I do have one in here somewhere, but I kind of just use these over and over again. I've got loads of them. Just give that a mix in. Apply this generously. Nice. Hopefully I've got enough for the second one. Get away with this. Okay, then you just set your burl on. So, get it in the centre. Nice. Same with the other one. Give that 5 minutes. After you've glued it, then I always rest these up against something, because these tend to move and slide about while they're curing. So just to give it some support, stop it sliding. So I started making these probably about a couple of years ago now, and it was kind of by chance, because and David Zelpel from David's Woodturning, he called one day and said that he was really busy and would I make some eggs for him. So I said yeah, no worries, I'll do a few eggs for you. And I did, and I'd never done one before, and they just come out so wicked. I've made quite a few of them since, and they sell really well. They look stunning. I know he sells his for somewhere around £200, which is good money, that's for certain. Mine I've got on the website, they're about for £125, so I guess how much it cost. So it'd be about 20 pounds, I guess. So it'd be about 7 to 10 quid for the burl. About the same for resin, and then it only actually takes probably 10 minutes to turn them. I can turn them pretty quick now, but to polish them, it's going to take, that takes a few hours. So it's a few hours work there. So the aim is I'll try and explain as much as possible where I get stuff from, what it is, and hopefully that'll be a good guide for you. If there is any questions, then just let me know, get hold of me some way, leave a comment or email me, whatever you want to do. I think I've got a lot of the links to all this equipment actually on my website anyway. That's free, just go and use the link. Okay, so these are stuck enough. I'm going to decorate these with Chameleon colours, because I love the Chameleon colours, turn out really nice. The Chameleon colours I've got, these are actually cheap ones from Amazon, but actually the Let's resin ones are probably my favourite, but I haven't got any of those at the moment. Waiting for them to send some more over. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it a black base. For that, I'm going to do it with Indian ink, so it's just a cheap bottle, again from Amazon. I think I've got a link on the website. I'm just going to take these. You can buy 100 of these brushes. They're £5 or £6 again from Amazon. I've got a link on the website for sure. And we're just going to paint them black. So I'll do the first bit, and then I won't bore you. Just want to get it into all the nooks and crannies, give it a good base. It almost works like a primer as well. The reason I'm doing this now is because I'm going to put it on the lathe and then turn it round before we glue the cup on it. So it doesn't really matter about the edges. You kind of get the idea though. Indian ink is actually quite good. I use it for ebonising. It's much better than Staffordshire black, a hell of a lot cheaper as well, that's for certain. Especially for things like finials. Sorry about that, next door has got their car out. Yeah, and it's really cheap. Covers really well. In fact, I wasn't impressed with that Staffordshire black. I wasn't impressed with whatsoever. Nearly there. It's actually taken quite a long time. Normally I get Doris does this for me. It's been at this for about a quarter of an hour now. Can't make sure you get all the bits, especially in the bimble box, because it's like holes in the top. This is brown mallee burl. Doesn't tend to be so many holes in it. And after we've done this, what we're going to do is we're going to give it a bit of time to, it needs to dry really well before we put the Chameleon colours on. Nearly there. A few little holes around this bit. On there. On there. Let's check. Around there. Nice. Gonna prep for turning, just sharpen up the bowl gouge a bit. Fresh edge on it. Love this machine. It's quite expensive, the Pro Edge, but does a great job, so it was worth every penny, to be honest. Highly recommend it. Okay, this is probably about an hour later because my sister's just been round for a coffee and she never leaves. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut this back and then shape it for ready for gluing. Good enough. So I won't show the other one, but the other one is exactly the same procedure. Okay, now for the next bit, so to put the Chameleon colours on, I'm going to use this. It's called Tack It, and it's basically like a glue, but it doesn't, it's really hard to explain. It goes sticky and it It does set, but eventually. Says it's repositionable adhesive, but it's great stuff, and you don't need very much. And we're only going to put this on so we can get the Chameleon colours and just dab it on and then get it dry. And you don't need very much of this, so this actually goes a long way, and the aim of the game really is to get an even coat. Let's do it one at a time. Just don't really want to get any lumps, or at least minimise them anyway. Fill up all the little holes a little tiny bit more. Another little tiny bit more. Okay, it's a nice even coating, just like that. What it does when it dries, it just dries clear. It feels tacky, it's really sticky. You can just leave it for half an hour or so. Once all the white's gone, we can put the Chameleon powders on. While that's setting, what we're going to do is, this is cellulose sanding cedar, 50% watered down with meths or denatured alcohol. What we're going to do is we're just going to seal up this side piece, just so we give the resin a little bit of a barrier so it doesn't sink into the wood. Pretty burl, lovely burl. I thought one of these was brown mallee burl, but it's not. Both of these are bimble box, which actually is probably my favourite, if I'm honest. Though mallee burl is nice too, very pretty. Okay, just like. Okay, so our colours of choice today, because I haven't done them before. One is a grape, the other one's a champagne. These are fairly new. This one not. This is plum. This plum here. It's quite pretty. You can see that I'm getting in front of the camera. Should polish up nice. So this one looks good enough. It's tacky, and in the box comes it's like an eyeshadow thing pad. One at a time. As always with these, it comes with a stupid lid that and we're just going to dip it in and apply it. So I'm just going to brush that into the burl, top of the burl. It's going to be pretty, this. Very pretty. Need to make sure we get it all. Yeah, I like this colour. Never really know what the colour shifts are going to come out like until you got resin over the top of them, but it looks like this one's going to be quite nice. They're only little tiny 5-gram pots, but actually they go quite a long way. Try and get into all the nooks and crannies. Because they're the bits that are going to colour shift. Right, just like that. So that's the grape. I'll do this one and then don't really want to see that. I can't remember what colour I was going to do that. Champagne? Yeah, champagne. And I'll show you at the end, and then we're going to let it dry for a good couple of hours. It needs to dry well. That's the champagne. Looks yeah, looks quite pretty. That blue though, look at that. It's wicked. I like that. Looking forward to seeing what they come out like with resin on top. So I'm going to leave them for about an hour now, just to make sure that glue is nice and set and dry. Then we'll put the lids on. Well, it's been about an hour. These are nice and dry. It's still quite a lot powder still on the top. So what we're going to do is we're just going to give it a quick coat of lacquer, and then while I'm doing that, I'm going to add some glitter. Use the blue on the blue and the pink on the pink. Literally, we'll just give it a quick coat, and then a few sprinkles. Looks quite nice in the just like that. Okay, so it's cut prep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tiny little hole on the centre line. You can see on the mould that there is a centre line on there. It just helps the centre of the cup. Like that. And then we're going to clean the cups. You know, and I can't tell you how many of these I've screwed up because it's really dusty in here. These need wiping out, because the last thing you want in your nice clear resin is dust. It looks awful. I'll take that in the sunlight in a minute, make sure I've got it all. Okay, I'm going to get the lids on. I'm going to use the lathe to help us here. I'm going to do is I'm going to put that centre on the centre here, move this into position, then use the lathe to push this on. Once it's tight, it should be nice and centred, just like that. So what we're going to do now is just tack it into place with hot melt. We do that in 4 places, so we just give it a spot, turn it around 108 degrees, another spot, and then in each corner, and that'll just keep the lid. Wait for that to dry, and just keep the lid nice and centred, so when we get it out of the pot it should be really easy to turn. And for the second one, okay, so next thing is to cut the end off. The best thing to do there is in the lathe. I just need to move the camera one moment. Okay, that's what I've found with doing this, is to put tool rest up and then use the pointy bit of your skew and then come in here at 45 degrees and it'll just pop off. Just like that. And then you don't get any swarf in there or anything like that. Everybody's happy. As for resin, then yeah, okay. So you have a choice there, because you can get away with normal resin, the normal 24-hour cure resin. With that said, I always use deep pour, because I've had a couple of times where I've ruined it because the resin's overheated. And the Let's resin, at least the Let's resin deep pour, does a good job. So does Vista Ocean. It's another one I used to use. But today it's Let's resin, because they sponsor me, and the resin's free, which really helps. And I also know that about 450 mil is what I want, but what I'm really after is getting the resin up to that 100 mil line. And I know that's the perfect height for me. So 450 mil of resin, so that's 300 part A. Voila. And 150 mil part B. I also got me one of these things, which is super cool. Saves a lot of time. Just move it down. Should see that a bit better. And this thing's just rechargeable, so it's great. Just plug it in with a USB. I always do it twice, just to make sure. Done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the vacuum chamber, and if you haven't got a vacuum chamber, then you don't really need to. It just makes me feel better. Try not to get in the way of the camera. And we're just going to let that go until that comes to full vacuum. But it is kind of amazing how much air this thing will pull out. Shut that off. Open it back up to atmosphere. Good pot this. The biggest pot I could find. Actually got it imported. Had it imported from America. The biggest pot I could find. Okay, so that's open to atmosphere. Stick in here. Need to move everything out of the way. And we're just going to pour till we get to the 100 milliliter mark, which is just there. One, and pull the rest of this into this one. It's going to take a little bit more. Okay, pull the rest of this in. There's my mark. See where we are, a little bit more. Just in case anyone does decide to get one of these, clear it out. This is acetone, it's well used. Throw it in. Mix that up and it'll come clean. Done. Oh, it stings. Ready to fight for another day. Okay, that's how they look. Very clear, that left hand one. A couple of bubbles in the right hand one, but not to worry about that. Pressure box, sort them out. Just get them in. Okay, pot's at 55 psi. We'll leave it 3 days, come back in 3 days and we'll take them out. Not sure I'm massively impressed with the blue one. The EPOXY Resin Chameleon colours are much better, but I'll finish them both off anyway. We'll turn this one. Best way I found getting the cups off is just with a chisel and a pair of pliers. You can kind of be brutal with it. We're just going to glue a little block on the end. A bit of CA. Kind of cuts down the vibration. The first thing we want to get off is that glue bead, and I never use this. Is a little 1/4 inch spindle gouge which I use just for taking glue off. Literally just going to scrape it off. Just like that. Next step, just going to get it to round. I'm going to do that with, in fact, that's the only tool I'm going to use. This is, I think it's the Easy Wood Tools. Is it the mid-size hollower? I think it's a mid-size hollower. I actually love this tool. It's probably my favourite tool, and probably the one I use most out of it, out of all the other tools I've got. It's got negative rate carbide on there. It's a fresh one, reasonably fresh. Yeah, we're just going to get it to round, just keep the shape exactly as it is at the moment. Alright, so we'll get it to round at least. And probably everybody's different, but I kind of work on this bit first. Yeah, so we're going to turn this lower diameter to the same diameter as my chuck here. That's what I always, it's always what I go out. I should probably measure that. It is about 45-46 mil. And then once we've done that, we're going to kind of go into like 2/3 of the way, and then we're going to start shaping it downwards. We'll do that first, and then we'll go and do the top. So I've got the diameter about right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take the like the 2/3 line, so around about here. We'll keep this our top diameter, and then we'll just shape that bottom bit, kind of starting to take the egg form. Okay, so that's probably good enough for now. We'll shape it up. We'll shape it up later once we get the point done. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take this down a bit, just so it doesn't clash, and then we'll probably be quite aggressive with it, and then we'll start shaping this. Speed up a little bit. It's around 1300 now. Okay, so we got our a very rough shape for an egg. We're gonna leave the tailstock on because it really reduces vibration. You get a much better cut. So what we're going to do is now we're just going to finish it off, make it look, get it to final shape. So there's a bit off here that needs to come off. It's a bit thick. This is a bit too thick here. So we're going to kind of keep this and then taper down. Everyone's different with eggs. Some people like fat eggs, some people like thin eggs. Personal preference. Something like that, and then just for the very final finish we're going to use a skew. This is proper sharp, so good to get sharp skew, and I'm going to have to move the camera because there's no way I can do this with standing there, but maybe I'll swap with the camera. Yeah, hopefully that's better. So we're just going to take the skew and go around. So with the skew, if there's any bumpy bits, you'll feel them, and the better cut we can get off the skew, the less sanding we'll have. Okay, then we're going to take the tailstock away, turn it back to the carbide, we'll shape the nose. You get more vibration now taking the tailstock away. final check. It's probably a little bit thick here, so we'll just get the skewer and thin this bit down. Are we happy with the end? Yeah, that's not too bad. We could possibly take a little bit off here, and perhaps we'll do that. Got the skew. Yeah. Okay, so that's turning done. So to me it looks okay, it looks uniform, as a like a nice shape. There's no like high spots, low spots that actually that I can see anyway. We're going to sand it, so that some of that will come out there, but well, no, just checking the burl, make sure we've got no massive chip out. Doesn't look like we have, so we're good there. So yeah, good for sanding. And so normally now for that finish off the tool, I'll probably start at 240. We're going to assume that we got a really bad finish off the tool, so I'll just start at 120. We go through every grip, so 120, 180, 240, 320, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, and then we're going to polish it. You have to apologise for my messy bench. This is actually what it generally looks like. I can kind of clean them, or try and keep it less busy for the YouTube. But, so this is just Abranet. I've used this once, so I'm going to use it again. I only really use it maximum of twice. So this is 400. This is 120, which we'll start with. 180. Another 180 there. 240. 320. And then the sanding pads. So that's an 800 sanding pad. And these last quite a long time, the sanding pads. These come straight from Amazon. Actually, they're quite good. In fact, I've got some 600s here, so I'll run out. Let's get one of those out. And they come in a pack of, you see that? A pack like that. And these are quite good for the lower grits. Can't get into it, that is. Wrap this up well, stay out. It's actually stuck together. Just right on here as well. $600, and then we've got the foam backed. So these are foam backed. And these are the 5-inch ones. These ones come from abrasives in the UK. There's 2000, 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, and these last ages. So I think that 1000 pad, 1000 grit, I've probably had that for about 30 eggs so far. They're really good. So we're going to start with 120, and we're just going to smooth it out, and then we'll start talking about the next grit. Speed down, it's about a little under 700, 696. And the faster we spin this on the lower grits, the faster we're going to clog the paper up. And we're just going to literally have a go. Generally put this in reverse. At the moment it's forward. And we're just going to smooth everything out. Make sure we haven't got any lines in there. Put it in reverse. If you're doing the lower grits, then you can kind of use it to reshape. Yeah, if there's something you're not particularly happy with, or you got a high spot. Like here, for example, is a little bit high, so we'll just spend a little bit more time just on that bit. To mention, I actually forgot to do it, to make sanding easier, and then we're just going to put a little undercut down the bottom. It just makes it easier to sand. Try to do this, not getting in the way of the camera, so it's kind of. Okay, so that's 120, so we're going to switch to the next grit, which is 180, and I'll probably film all this one because all the lower grits are exactly the same, and to get mirror finish on epoxy actually is pretty easy. I don't think most people actually get that finished because they just don't put the time in, and a wise old man once told me that actually between grits you should leave at least 7 minutes. And I have a timer, so there's my 7-minute timer, and I'll do it with the lathe running for 7 minutes, and actually I'll probably spend another 5 minutes by hand after that. I'll do that for every single grit. Okay, so I'm going to set the timer, and we're off. I'm just going to keep going for 7 minutes. I have tried doing this for 5 minutes, I've tried doing it for 6 minutes, and 7 minutes is definitely the magic number. But like I said, I do spend actually quite a lot of time by hand afterwards, which I'll show. I don't have to go mad with it, just take time. Actually normally put some music on when I'm polishing. End. Incidentally, it's the end that's always take the longest to polish. I think probably because I spend kind of less time on the end. Blow the paper out of there again. Lathe still running at just under 700 RPM. Once we start wet polishing, which we'll do at 600, then we can You can increase the speed of the lathe a little bit. I kind of find this is a week old epoxy, so it's still a little bit on the soft side, but I find if you go much quicker than that, then it just clogs the paper up even worse than it is now. It's kind of important for the for clear epoxy that you use reasonably fresh paper. And this is it's been used on one other rig. I generally use it twice and then I'll throw it away regardless. There's nothing worse than getting to the end of your polishing. It could take a few hours. Nothing worse getting to the end and then realising you got a scratching that's somewhere around like 300, 400 grit. You have to go back, do it all over again. Right, 3.5 minutes to go. I'm going to put the lathe in forward. Just get that. It's easier to do the inside bit, I find, or the base bit. Reverse again. Hopefully you'll find this video, this tutorial, I guess, useful. You'll have to let me know, and maybe if it's of value, then we'll do a few more. this is how it looks after 7 minutes. Now I'm going to so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to make sure that all the scratches come out in this direction, and we only have scratches in this direction, and this is how we make sure that we do have we've taken out all the scratches from 120. I can't really stress how important this bit is. And this probably takes like 5 minutes or so to do this. So now we've got all the lines going this way. Now we're just going to check it. I can see where it's come here. We need to get out. Some here. One here. Some here. Here. Hopefully the light's not too bright so you can see. Do need a bright light on it. Okay, I think we're good to go. So now we can switch to the next paper, which is 240, and I'm not going to show 240, 320 or 400 because it is exactly the same. So in each grit, 7 minutes with the load running, and 5 minutes by hand, getting out making sure we've got all the scratches out. Okay, we're at 320 now, and there is 400. I've always put a little coat of sanding sealer just on the wood, because after 400 we're going to start wet polishing, and I actually don't know whether it makes any difference, but it's what I've always done. This is just cellulose sanding sealer. It's watered down or thinned down 50% with meths. Denatured alcohol. I'm just going to give it a coat. Wipe it off. Give it 10 minutes or so to dry. Then we're over 400, and after we've done this, we're going to start wet polishing or wet sanding at 600, and I'll bring you back in then. Alright? Okay, at 600 then we're going to start wet sanding, and it's my 600 pad, And we're going to wet sand with, hopefully I've got that in the right place, with meths. Or denatured alcohol. The only difference between meth and denatured alcohol is that the meth is coloured. I read somewhere it's to stop people drinking it. Not quite sure why, but we'll make the pad nice and soggy. I'm going to put the lathe on backwards. Running about 850 RPM. Do a good dousing. Set our clock. And we're off again, another 7 minutes. So what I'll do is we'll do the whole list on film, this layer, but essentially it's all the same after that. We're going to do 6,000, 600, 800, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 and 4,000. The difference between this one, we only need to do it for 7 minutes, we don't need to go over it by hand anymore. Done all the hard work on the lower grits. You want to keep the epoxy like nice and wet. If it dries up, kind of like goes a bit grainy. Hard to explain. Good to spend plenty of time around here. The end bit is, I think I've said it before, but the end bit is probably the most difficult bit to polish. Certainly on an egg anyway. I'm just going to flip that the other way round. Right, so 7 minutes. What we're going to do is, while that's wet, just going to give it a wipe. Take out all the horrible bits. Check, make sure there's nothing to dress. Looks good. So yeah, I'm gonna do 800 and 1,000, and then once you get to 2,000, maybe I'll show that as well. Okay, so we've actually at 2,000 now, so I'm gonna do 3,000, 4,000. I'll show this one in its entirety. Again, it's just 7 minutes. Got the lathe running now at about 1100 RPM. Yep, 1075, and it's exactly the same. Moving on to the bigger pads. These are from Smerdex. You can get them from Abrasives in the UK. They're actually really good because they're really flexible. And they kind of hold the liquid in nicely, the meths in nicely. But same again, and you can kind of just use like circular motion. Did I set the clock? No, clock on. 7 minutes again. You can actually stop at 3,000 and start polishing. I find that on the polishing wheel, the aggressive one, don't like it very much, makes my back ache, so I choose to go to 4,000, give slightly easier time on that wheel. Sunday morning today. Weather's out, beautiful day it is in the UK. Actually managed to catch up with some of YouTube this morning. Saw Dan Pearce, what's his channel name? Art Giving Hope. Really like that channel. And he does like sculptured stuff. Another guy I followed, BM Sculptures, like the stuff he makes is just like out of this world. And both from between them cast like a huge amount of epoxy. Although Dan Pearce this morning, he was saying that, cause he's also sponsored by Let's Resin, and he was saying that the Let's Resin tabletop epoxy as a flood coat is really good. So I've got a Let's Resin. I've asked them for some stuff. And give it a test. Who else did I watch this morning? Ben's Works. Like a guy, I've subbed to his vlog channel as well. Quite actually enjoy it. But he makes pretty much stuff like this, to be honest. He makes tons and tons of eggs, but he also does some different stuff, and it's the different stuff that's like really interesting. Just good for ideas. David's Woodturning, there's another one I sub to. He does one a week, although he missed one last week and it's really unlike him, so I sent him a message because I'm quite friendly with David. Done quite a lot for me, and I've done quite a lot for him as well. His moulds. Every now and again he'll tap me up to see if I do a mould for him so that he can print. He's got 3D printing, but he doesn't. Not really very good with the software side. So I do quite a lot of them for him. And he's a super nice bloke. He's only in the other side of Chelmsford. He's in Hockley. Been to his workshop a few times, which is a wicked workshop, to be honest. It's all state of the art, lovely. Positive Couple, I don't know if anybody subs to that. It's a bit of a, I think he kind of does a table, does all sorts, to be honest, but it's really different. Use a lot of epoxy. The last 6 or 7 videos he only does one every month, every 2 months, but they do really well, his videos, or their videos. It's both of them. But yeah, over the last 6 or 7 months he's been redoing his kitchen, and actually they're worth watching because like some of those stuff that he's doing is incredible. Who else sticks out? Obviously you've got your Andy Phillips and your Jack Max. Nick Zametti, always watch Nick. Not because I particularly like what he does, if I'm absolutely honest, but he does some weird stuff and it kind of makes you think a little bit differently. So, and he's a nice guy. So. Entertaining anyway. So yeah, you'll have to let me know who I'm missing. There is a ton of follow a lot of people, but I probably don't watch all that much, to be honest. They're probably the main ones. So yeah, let me know who you're up to. A lot of good channels. I don't know why, but YouTube kind of changed the algorithm a couple of months ago. I noticed in general that the woodturning community videos aren't doing nearly as well as they were, although that's kind of, like, last few weeks have kind of changed. Everyone's been suffering about it. That's one of the reasons David didn't post last week, because he just said, oh, give it up with YouTube, can't be, it's not worth the hassle. So that last one I put up, that's done quite well. The two before it, terrible. Terrible. Oh, that was quick. So we're just starting to see what it's going to look like. I think it might look quite pretty, that. It's kind of golden pink. Yeah, different. So yeah, I'm going to give it the give it 4,000 grit, and then we're ready for polishing. So I'll do that off camera. It's exactly the same as that, 7 minutes, some maths, and then yeah, then we'll talk about polishing. Okay, so that's what 4,000 grit looked like. I'm going to take it off the lathe now. Oh, okay, wheels in. These are the polishing bars I use from Menzerner. I think you can get them on Amazon now. They're really quite inexpensive, and these probably a couple of years old, and you're hard to use anything, I use heavy cut, medium cut, and a cut and a super finish. This one, arguable whether you actually need it or not. I do use it, but actually at 4,000 grit, it's not, well, at least I can't really tell the difference between 4,000 grit and heavy cut. Medium cut is the money shot. That's the one that's going to make it look pretty, and that's going to run the lathe up around about 1700-1800 odd. I find you don't really have to go any quicker than that. If you go too quick, you're going to burn the epoxy, which is even worse. You just need a little light touch. Doesn't need an awful lot. So I'll do all 3 walls. And on the super finish, you actually know, I just literally touch it. It's good enough. So we're going to set another timer. We're going to set it for 5 minutes. These are 8-inch wheels, so generally 5 minutes is probably enough on each of these. And we're going to keep the egg on its chuck. If you take the egg off and you get a catch down the bottom, then your egg's going to end up on the floor. I've lost tons like that, and I promise you it's much easier to keep it on here because you have more to get hold of. So we're not applying massive amount of pressure here, but let the wheels do the work. Timer. Name of the game is not to put too much heat into it. And then I'm going to try and get some of the wood, but the important bit is that we get this transition here. The rest of it we can finish once we cut it off. But on this grit everything looks greasy because the compound has got quite a lot of fat in it. Leaves like horrible marks on it, but that's normal. Put down for a little bit longer. So that's that one. Then we're going to move on to the next one. We'll give it a wipe with the cloth first, but still, you can see it's actually probably looks worse than what it did at 4,000 grit. So I have to wonder how much value there is in this wheel, but I do it anyway. Okay, onto the medium wheel, and this is my favourite wheel. This is the money shot. We'll set timer. Starting to go now. Hopefully I got that in the right place. feel the egg's warm to the touch, but it's not hot. If it's too hot, you're putting too much pressure on there. Let it cool down. So that's the finish that's come off the second wheel. It's pretty clear, but I always look for, I've got some lights above me, and I always look for that main beam. I'll make sure that's completely uniform. I can see that there's a little scratch, there's something here that I need to get out, so I'll do that in a minute. But other than that, that's the only one. So I'll get that out and then we'll go on to the last wheel. So we just check that I'm going right now. It's fucking pricking. Check the end, make sure that's nice and clear. You can see the bottom as you can. Yeah, good stuff. With the last wheel, we're really only going to tickle it. We don't want to put much pressure on at all, because that will work against us, not for us. We're literally just going to touch it. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to put this back on the lathe. We'll use this for the thumbnail, I think, so for the video. We don't want to. I'm not going to put these back completely because we still need to polish the wood after we cut it off, and we'll start potting it off now. I'm just going to pot it off at 700 RPM. We're not going to cut it all off, we're just going to get it down to sensible size. Always a little bit cautious here. Last thing you want to do is for it to come off. Do it one more time, and then I generally try and get in the middle bit so it's less than 20 mil. You can't see, hang on. Yeah, I generally try and get the middle down so it's less than 20 mil because I have a 20 mil maker's mark that I put in there. Normally I'd cut this off on the bandsaw, but as is people watching, we'll go by hand. Like so. Okay, so we're going to take the chuck out. That's on the bottom. 2-inch sanding disc. That's 400, 100, 180, 240, 60. We're starting at 60. Got 320 in there, yep, 320, that'll do. I'm just going to stick this on the lathe, like so, and run that up, tailstock outline. That's 2000 RPM. Good. What we're going to do now is we're going to put the polishing wheels back on, polish the wood. I always drill a 20mm hole in the bottom, put a maker's mark on there. We're not going to bother with it. We're going to go straight to the medium cut. To the bottom, turn it round, and you have a polished bottom. Right, so finished egg. Here's the maker's mark, just to let you know. So I've just literally drilled a 20mm hole, popped that in there with a bit of CA. Okay, so this is our egg finished, well, ish anyway, and this is kind of the secret that nobody really tells you, because if you really want to make this pop, and don't get me wrong, this is quite nice and shiny, but actually we can get this magnificent with a bit of this. This is Woodturning Super Resin polish. And what we're going to do is we're going to smear, I'll do it on the bench. Okay, what we're going to do is we're just going to take some dripped off already. This will probably do actually. We're going to take a smear of this, we're going to put it all over our resin. You're going to get messy here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to polish it with a small buffing wheel. Let me just wipe my hands and I'll show you. Little drill mounted buffing wheel, which is on a fine one. They come in threes. I'll put a link to them anyway. There's coarse, medium and fine. And we're going to polish it with a fine wheel, but with the auto-glue polish. And it will completely transform into something that's actually quite spectacular. Running that wheel at about 1700 RPM, and this is fairly painless. Don't have to add much pressure. Actually haven't come across a channel that's ever given this information away. It's kind of what sets aside like a really good egg and an outstanding egg. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but you can start seeing, you move the camera a bit, but you can actually start seeing some of the pigment that's come off, that's sitting in the epoxy, some of the mica. It's so clear. Do the wood as well. I'm just going to wipe my hands a bit. And then it doesn't take very long, a few minutes. Don't have to go too mad here. Hopefully you can see that now, what difference that is. And you can actually see every speck of dust that's trapped in the epoxy on the inside, and that's kind of how you know what you've got there. Hope you found it really useful, so thanks for watching. I hope you learned a little secret. And if you do make some eggs, then send them over, let me have a look at them. I'd be interested to see what you do. Oh, incidentally, here's the blue one. So I haven't cut it off the chuck yet, but that's the blue one polished.